Now, the reason why I think I was able to get this one so cheap is because the person was just not happy with the performance of it. And immediately, as soon as I powered on, I think I know why and what I'm going to do to fix it before I ever drive it outside for the first time. Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. Alright, it's certainly been a long time since we've done a video down here in the RC workshop studio. Ever since December of 2021, things really got kind of rough. You know, just life happens, right? Anyway, kind of on the mend now. A couple things have left the fleet. The UDR is gone. The Arma Phazon 6S is gone. The Element RC Trailwalker is gone. And a couple of other things that I let go as well. Kind of big ticket items that I hadn't been using much. I didn't sell any race cars, so the race car fleet is fully still intact, as well as I've got stuff in the background and lots of different projects that I've kept that are not finished. And I always was monitoring on our online sales and stuff, and Facebook Marketplace does a lot of RC sales, and someone local to me was selling a LASERNUT. So I got a LASERNUT. This is almost brand new. The person only had 1 or 2 drives out of it. It's almost in a brand new state. It has very little cosmetic damage on it. I have not actually driven it yet. Now the reason why I bought this is because the person sold it for way under market value. I even have the box and everything. Oh, if I was going to buy this new in store, I was likely going to go for this livery, which is the white and blue. It was just because outside filming I figured it would show up better, but if I get this out while there's still snow on the ground, and we should have snow for quite a few more months, I think the black will look fine. It's a carbon fiber style shell, and this is scale, or at least as scale as they were willing to make it. It's officially licensed, LASERNUT. This is designed off of a real Ultimate 4 U4 rock racer. It's a 7075 aluminum chassis, but it's a longer version of the Tenacity platform. This is still considered a Tenacity. I still have my LOSI Tenacity DB Pro, also considered a Tenacity 10 scale, although this is big. To me, this is an 8 scale vehicle, but for some reason they still call it a 10 scale. The differences between this versus the DB Pro, the DB Pro is built on a short course type electronics and chassis, so it's designed for 2S, 3S, has a higher kV motor, 4,000 kV I think. This one is definitely more like an 8 scale buggy. We have a 1900 kV brushless motor, uncensored, and the 130 amp Spectrum Smart ESC, and this runs on 3S or 4S. Now, I do have a 4S LiPo in here. This is the Spectrum Smart. Now, Genzace is my #1 battery of choice, and they have helped out the channel immensely over the years with providing batteries for review and me to use for racing. But I have this older Spectrum Smart, and I wanted to put it in this because it came with the DX3 Smart. So it's going to have the smart telemetry on the radio where I can see things like battery voltage. Things have changed over the past year because the G2, they got rid of the legacy balance plug, and if you don't have the legacy balance plug, you can't use your G2 batteries on any kind of other charger system other than theirs. So at least the Generation 1 Spectrum Smart batteries are fully backwards compatible with 4S balance and an EC5 connector. This is actually an IC5 connector, but when you're charging it off a legacy charger, that telemetry port doesn't do anything. Now, the reason why I think I was able to get this one so cheap is because the person was just not happy with the performance of it. And immediately, as soon as I powered on, I think I know why and what I'm going to do to fix it before I ever drive it outside for the first time. This is a 4-wheel drive buggy. It has 3 gear differentials. The center differential has an aluminum cup. They're all fluid-filled gear differentials. I don't know the fluid weight that's in them, and I haven't taken it apart to check it over. But it's got the hinge-style body system. And the layout is actually pretty convenient to work on. I'll do a video later about the differences of the LASERNUT versus the Tenacity DB Pro. It's a few things. It's got a few differences for sure. The design of this though is quite intriguing in that it's a little bit more scale, it's a little bit bigger. It's got the 2.2 rock crawler style tires on it. And you have a rear spare tire instead of a rear wing. The body is much different, much heavier. You have your 2 drivers with some adjustable heads and air support. You've got a little bit of a scale dash in there. Have a mirror for them. I really like the driving lights and the roof lights. Some scale details here that disappear when you get the all black version. If you get the white and blue, you can see some of these scale details a little bit better. It's got lots of molded plastic pieces all over the place. It all just kind of blends in when you get the black one. It's bright bronze wheels. It comes with these officially licensed BF Goodrich MT tires, 2.2 wheels and tires. You get plastic wheels. Now, just be careful of this. If you do strip this out, this would be a throwaway wheel. You cannot fix this or replace the hex. And on the vehicle side, it is a nice metal hex, although a fairly shallow one, so just be aware of that. And here's some of the front end geometry. And the rear sway bar system, which also works as a hood prop to keep the body up. And the cage system that you can't really tell because it has all the panels all over it. A 70-75 aluminum main bottom plate with a plastic upper support and double bell crank steering system, aluminum shocks with aluminum caps, a little fake worn winch on the front. Let me just show you a couple things. So I'm just going to power on the radio. I'm going to plug in the battery. Power switch is here, just get powered on. It has AVC stability, so you have to let it sit stable for that first 5 seconds when you turn it on. And I will say one of the nice features of it is the LED system. So you've got this big bright white light bar up top, and then you have amber driving lights on the front, which really adds to the scale detail of it, and they're very bright. So running it outside in dark conditions should be actually pretty good to be able to see what's going on. So I'm excited for that. The reason why I do not think that these are well liked out the box is, first of all, watch this. So throttle, lots of throttle. Watch this. Full brake. That's not nearly enough brake. That is a dangerously low amount of braking force. You almost have no brakes at all. If this is under load and you're rolling forward, you cannot stop. I don't know why they would decide to do that. They're set for 25%. So that's one of the first things I'm going to do. You do not throw out the manual because you're going to recalibrate to program the speed control to give it more brake force. And we want to dial up the brake from 25% to either 50 or 75. I'm probably going to go to 75 because the radio itself has a knob for brake rate. So this knob would allow me to turn down the brake anyway. So why do I want to turn down the programming? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know who made that decision, but it was a bad one. That's problem number one, is dangerous brakes. Problem number two is the steering is not set up right. We only have this much right wheel turning under load, and under left we have full left, but right, that's all we have for right. Since this is a Spectrum AVC based, it doesn't have anything to do with the linkage or the trims on the radio. I think it has to do with the initial calibration. I'm going to go through that and see if that fixes the problem. First thing is you press and hold the bind button on the receiver, then you power on the receiver while holding the bind button, then you let it go, and then you put your transmitter in the bind mode and you turn it on, and then you wait for the system to bind up, and then it will give you a beep code to tell you it's ready to be calibrated. Then you go full throttle, let go, full brake, let go, full right, let go, full left, let go. Wait until the orange LED flashes to confirm settings, and then power it off. And that's how you set your endpoints for full throttle, full brake, full right, full left. So I'm going to do that, see if that fixes it, and then we're going to program the speed control. Okay, this is going to take a few button presses, and you have to do it in the right sequence. This is the 6100 receiver. It's a big 6-channel AVC receiver, but the bind button is this button here. So what I need to do is hold down the bind button while I turn it on, and it should be in bind mode. And now I need to hold down bind while I turn this on. Binding, and now I'm supposed to calibrate, which is supposed to be a full throttle press, let go. Full reverse press, let go. Full right, let go. Full left, let go. Centered. That should have calibrated it. Okay, now we're going to see if I have improved right-hand turning. If not, then it's binding up in the Servo Saver system. So I'm going to power off the radio, power on the radio, power on the truck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Calibrate. So that's counting 4 cell lipos and then calibrating level. And now let's see if my rate is better. Yeah, that seems better. Yeah, I think so. Let's just see here. No, it's in the Servo Saver system. So I'm going to calibration is always a good idea to check. I may have slightly better throw when it's offload. Certainly seems to be. All right. So it's all load within the Servo Saver system. I'm going to have to check to see what's going on with that. Let's see if I can tighten up that Servo Saver. We've got plenty of left. Just after you go right. This is the Servo Saver adjustment here, and the previous owner did adjust it. I can see that because of now I'm going to dial up the brake. I'm going to use the set button on the speed control. Do this while the system is on. Press and hold the set button until the green LED flashes. Okay, blinking green. 5 is max brake force. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When at desired program, press and hold the set button until the red LED flashes. Okay, red LED flashed. Now press and release the set button to cycle through the values. So max brake force, we're at level 1, 25. Level 2, 50%. Level 3, 75%. That's what I'm going to go with, 75% brake force. Save settings by pressing and holding the set button for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Saved. Power off. Done. We pressed set button through all the green LEDs to get down to 5, and then press and hold set button to get into the red, and then we moved it from 25% up to 75%. The rest of the settings here I'm fine with. So forward reverse with brake, that's fine. Drag brake at 0. I'm going to leave it at that until I drive it for the first time, then maybe go up to 5 or 10%, but I'll probably leave it at 0 because I like that for off jumps. Then when you're jumping, it won't nosedive. Low voltage cutoff is actually on a very good setting, 3 volts for cell. The reason why 3 volt for cell is good is because you end up getting a lot of lipo cell sag as you drive, so under high load, you can easily touch down to 3 volts a cell momentarily, and then that's fine. That's an okay level to dip to. But if you have it set up at something like 3.4, I think a lot of Traxxas vehicles are set for like 3.8, it goes off way too early. And then you have to unplug, replug the battery. So I'm fine with 3 volts a cell. Level 5 punch I'm also fine with. You can go up to level 9 punch if you want to. If you wanted more punch off the line, we'll see. Level 5 seems appropriate. I'm running a 50C Spectrum Smart battery, and if I also put in my Gens Ace, those are also 4S Gens Ace 50Cs that I would run in this. I wouldn't run a red line, I would just run a normal Gens Ace in this with an IC5 connector. 50C 5000 milliamp hour 4S should be fine. Drag brake is initial, which would be whatever your brake setting is. You can dial that up. Neutral range is at 9% for normal. Timing, I thought this was interesting. Since this is a 1900 kV motor, uncensored, you can electronically dial up the timing, and out of the box set at 15 degrees. Now, the more timing you give it, the faster the motor will be, but also the hotter the motor will run. So this motor doesn't have any active cooling on it. It should be fairly cool, but just keep an eye on that. If you decide that it's running too hot and you don't want that much speed, you can dial down the timing. Motor rotation is factory set for counterclockwise, and LiPo is set for auto calibrate. That's how many beeps you hear when it turns on. We should have significantly more braking force now. Oh yeah, much better. And if I want to dial down my brake rate, now I can actually do that from here. I can just dial down brake rate. Yeah, that's great. I would much rather have that ability where if I want to be able to slam on the brakes hard, I can do that. And if I want to have less brakes, I'll just dial it down from the radio. Okay, so those are the two main things I thought were needed to be fixed. With that, I think I'm ready to finally take this thing for a run. So we'll get out there and run this thing in some wintry, wet conditions and see what it's like. Keep the wheel speed up if you get on the loose stuff. Full throttle. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new on here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching. Little things like that can really turn off someone. You were the if this was your first RC and you didn't know about anything, you wouldn't know, even though it says it in the book. Most people are not going to take the risk of going through what I just did to reprogram it. I've talked to many people, they just don't end up doing it unless you really force their hand to do it because they're afraid to screw it up. They think it came out of the box the right way. That's not always true. In most cases, it did not come out of the box in the ideal settings, so tweak that stuff yourself. It's all part of the hobby. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new on here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.